Straight run up.
Now he angles it somewhat. Barkadash.
Where do I start? It's been up and down.
I remember being a kid.
I can see that happening.
That's always something to do. Be unlaced.
Unlaced podcast. It's actually not bad.
And we're live. We are back on the dance floor, people. The Unlaced podcast. What a start to the year we've had. Last few episodes, obviously Tommy Bug, which got some really good reception on, and Fahid Ben Colfella, one of my good friends, one of the best to grace the A-League. Please get around that episode if you haven't. Give us a like, subscribe and comment. All those that have, I say it every episode, you are the life and soul of this podcast. So thank you so much. I'm excited for today's episode. Now, I met one of these boys a few weeks ago, thanks to my good mate Tommy Sheridan, who will feature on this, of course, in Josh Dunkley. And it was a pleasure to meet you, mate. But we couldn't have you on today without bringing your bromance, your partner, and Adam Treloar as well.
Tibber's not here.
Is there a third? Is there? No, it's honestly pleasure, boys, for coming on. And then obviously the sideline comments, the expert, mate, the one who's got the comedy jokes, the one-line king, as I call you, Tommy Sheridan. Thank you for coming in as well.
Thanks, mate. Elite company today. Elite company.
It is. I'm a little bit excited for this one. And we were going to talk footy, but we have to go straight into American sport because some news has dropped today as we're filming this, people. Tom Brady is coming back.
Well, it's not long ago we were just talking about him retiring, wasn't it?
I know.
Yeah. We actually gave away a jersey. We were just saying about that. Someone sold his ball, so it's big news.
But was it really? Are you really surprised? It was like the way that he was playing. And I know you love your NFL, Tommy. The way that he was playing, it was like when he retired, it was kind of like, why are you retiring? Like,
yeah,
you're still dominating, mate.
It was the family thing, and that's like, but it was a bit flat. Like it was a bit like, mate, you haven't really told me to run. It's like you're done or not.
Yeah,
done.
Yeah.
Everyone, but mate, huge,
unreal,
huge. Godwin got tagged, so he's there. Evans.
They're just running it back.
Yeah.
And you just showed a little stat there before.
Yeah, it was
what was it, last 10 years? Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
Last 9 years, yeah. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
So the ratio
He's due for a win.
He's going to win.
How good.
Jump on.
So
what are they paying?
Tampa going to be up there again? Obviously with the Brady effect, but I mean the squad they have they kept most of the pieces?
Well, they've kept the same squad. Well, no one knows what Gronkowski's doing. Is he? He's not back.
He'll stay with Tom.
Yeah.
He'll stay now.
Oh, he actually officially hasn't done
He's like
anything.
you two. They ain't going anywhere.
It's the Gronk and Brady effect.
Yeah, but who's who? Who's Gronk? Who's Brady?
Big call. Let's not have a rift here on the start of the show.
Who's the Brady?
Oh, no, Tommy.
Who do you think, mate? Who do you think?
Well, he's
Out of
cooking
us
breakfast for AB. That's got to be up there.
Yeah.
Well, that's so for me. Also, the other twist, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That's it. Did anyone see that coming? Did you see him leaving the Seahawks?
Yeah. There's a few dramas this year with him, boys. Thank God as well. Pete Carroll, he sucks.
Seattle in general.
Yeah, they just run the ball. Shit game plan.
Shocking.
I can't wait to watch Jerry Jeudy now.
Me too.
Yeah.
Seattle literally just got rid of arguably their greatest defensive player of all time, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah,
they literally just let him walk.
Isn't he like one of the best tackles going around? Or whatever?
Is that a salary cap thing?
I think it is. It's similar to the Mari Cooper thing with they just got Dallas just literally just see mate. See you later.
Go to the Browns, man.
And then gave Michael Gallup a $62 million contract extension. Did you see that today?
I didn't see that. Are you serious?
Got rid of Murray Cooper and gave Michael Gallup a $62 million. I know.
Fucking hell.
It's pretty rogue at the moment, isn't it?
Mate, it's all happening. I mean, you're big on your NBA. We were just talking about it before. KD's dropping 53. The East is stacked. Who do you go for in the East?
Well, no. So KD's, that's my team,
boy.
KD.
Ah, so okay, you like me, you follow players.
Well, KD. I follow KD mainly, but so the way it started for me is I wanted to get into something outside of footy.
Yeah.
When I got drafted to the Giants, and I just loved playing NBA 2K and NBA Live, but I never really watched it basketball. Anyway, moved up to Sydney. Foxtel. Didn't have Danny Boy, mate. We didn't have Foxtel in Denver.
Oh, we love the Danny Boy. Shout out.
So I had no Foxtel. Pretty much started watching basketball, and I just wanted to follow a team. And they were Seattle at the time, and it was KD's second year. So reason why I followed them is Giants were a startup team. Seattle just relocated to Oklahoma, startup team. I'll just follow Kevin Durant. So mad Kevin Durant fan for all the way up until his last season there. Wow. Watched every game religiously. As soon as I found out he got traded, so I remember waking up. I knew he was going to go because there was talk about it.
This is from the Warriors?
Oklahoma. From Oklahoma.
This is what I want to ask you. How did you feel about that?
I was mad, mate. I'd watch every single Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
Like League Pass. They were my team. Yeah. I was heartbroken when we were up 3-1 against Golden State. When they came back and won, and freaking Steph Curry did that dumbass shimmy that he does. At the time, I just hated it. Anyway, when we're waking up, I'm like, okay, I'll be okay if he goes to 28 other teams, obviously Oklahoma being the 29th. The one team I didn't want him to go to was the Warriors because I didn't like the Warriors. Woke up and initially I thought it was the Wizards because he's from Washington.
Yes.
And it said Warriors and I was just like, you know what? I'm never supporting a team again. I'm just going to go for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, geez, it still doesn't sit well with me, that trade.
It doesn't really with me
It
either.
changed the NBA. Like, I mean, I know LeBron did it a few years before, but like you knew they were going to win.
Oh,
It's like every team now is trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. It's not working though.
Exactly.
It's not working anymore.
Oh, there was, what are they call them, the big threes? There was one big three, 15 years ago. Now there's every second team's a big three.
I know.
So
they don't work all the time, though.
no, they don't.
Well, the teams
No.
that are leading the West and East, they're not necessarily the stacked teams. They're the ones that have
I like
drafted
the way
and added
the
pieces.
Suns and Heat play good team
Love it.
basketball.
I love it.
It's not many,
That's why I love them.
Booker's a star, and Butler's a competitive star, but they're not like there's no absolute superstar.
No.
Booker is, but they're just a good team.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win?
I reckon the Suns, man.
Do you reckon?
I reckon the Suns.
I reckon that too, them or Miami, because this is my belief about basketball and how you win, is you can get there and scrape your eye in, whatever it is, but you need star power. You need someone who can take over a game. And you see the differences between the teams that haven't won versus have won is when the game's on the line, a lot of the time it just comes down to your star player versus the other team's star player.
Yeah.
Phoenix, talk about Phoenix, they've got Devin Booker, he's their star player. So when the game's on the line, you trust him to get the job done. Same as Miami, when you go to Miami, Jimmy Butler. A few years ago, no one thought he was the star player until that series when we were all in the hub and they played that series and he was dominating every game. So that's why I think those players like that would win, where there's teams where, in my own opinion, and this is a little bit controversial, Dallas Mavericks, I don't think Luka Doncic is that star player where he can take over a game and win it in a playoff situation.
Oh, we love this.
Not
That's
yet.
breaking.
Not yet. Not yet.
That is huge.
No comment in.
I love it. Let's fly it.
I would have said the same as Jimmy Butler. Proof is in the pudding for him. He showed that when they lost to LA. I know they lost, but it wasn't his fault. He was dominant. He was the reason why they were in that series. Where I don't believe someone like Dallas or even Utah, for instance, I don't think Donovan Mitchell. They can get there because they got a great roster, but I don't think Donovan Mitchell has that star power to drag his team over the line versus someone like Devin Booker for Phoenix.
Yeah, that's huge. Dunks, what about you? Are you into your NBA?
Yeah, I follow it. Not as hard as these two boys.
Yeah,
but
you're more NFL, aren't you? Probably.
yeah, probably. I would say more NFL, but I still don't have a team. Like Tommy asked me, who's your team?
I find it hard to pick a team in the NBA because of the amount of
American
trades.
sports.
Yeah, in general. Unless I go to a ground and get an affiliation with the city, then you have to jump ship.
Yeah.
Just to keep it entertaining.
Like you just keep an interest. Like fantasy for me is like that's who I go for.
Yeah.
I just go for fantasy and watch my players play, and then that's it.
But that also puts you off players as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. James Harden. James Harden.
Cooper Cup for me.
Wait, was that a hoax that I read something about him bringing a bunch of birds to training?
Nah,
was that fake
He had a
news?
10-game suspension. He played 2 games later.
Yeah, so it must have been fake. But to tell you what, I thought that's impressive.
Probably did.
He's just changed it up, hasn't he, in Philadelphia? Well, before we go into some footy and stuff, I do want to get into the bromance because it's been well headlined and you guys must be sick of talking about it. But at the same time, like, how did you guys create a connection? Did you know each other before you came to the Doggies, like as well as you did?
No, I didn't know. No, we didn't know each other at all.
not at all.
Just played against each other.
Just mutual respect.
And
really.
I actually, before you go into that, I did hear that Dunks is renowned for when you go and shake his hand before a game.
Oh, he
said
wouldn't
he's
shake your
skipping
hand.
a handshake into the ribs.
Absolutely.
But he gave you a handshake.
He did.
Wow.
I actually did, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Like, looking back now, it's like, why did I do that?
Why'd you do that?
But obviously, we had a connection that we didn't know about.
contact.
Yeah, it was something.
I shake hands. That's one thing I always do. Like you always hear people talk about, why do you shake hands with someone for a game? I just do. That's just what I like doing. And I didn't know what I was going to get from him because my perception of Josh. So this is how close we are. I call him Josh.
I was just going to say, you haven't called me Josh for ages.
My perception of Dunks is early days before I even knew him. Sorry, before I knew him was like he's this tough, like pretty intimidating kind of player because of the way that he plays. So I didn't know if he was going to shake my hand.
Yeah.
And I stuck the hand out. Not because I didn't like beeline for him. At the centre bounce, we lined up on each other and then obviously went to shake his hand and he stuck his hand out and shook my hand.
See, what's your perspective on that? Because you're actually a very nice guy. So when you're on the field, what's like going through your head?
Oh, I try and psych myself up to be like,
So it's all just a mental banter.
So this was very off-putting.
Is that
I
why we
started the
won the
game
game?
like shit.
Is that why we won the game?
Yeah, you won the game.
Oh my God. See, I feel like if I was walking over to the wing and saw you, I wouldn't stop laughing. I'd be like, fuck me, I'm going to run next to this
I
bloke.
just whack him on the ass. Mate, you get back and I'll get on your arm.
Just give me some space
I don't
early.
know. I think it depends on who it is, but yeah, that's interesting that you don't shake hands.
Yeah, I don't.
That actually would get me going a bit. I'd be like, oh, this arrogant bastard.
Yeah, what a prick.
You know?
But it's not like a thing you have to do. I've seen some full forwards with full backs, they do it, some don't.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very.
Well, I don't think it's not that you don't. If someone,
someone sticks their hand
if they stick
out.
their hand out, you shake their hand, won't you?
Yeah,
Most of the
probably.
time.
Oh,
Depends
you
who
said that with a
it
bit of
depends
salt,
who it
yeah.
is.
Send that really
Depends who it is.
Like that.
Have you thought about doing the old E?
Mate, I had a kid yesterday, like, give me the knuckles and then just pulled away. I was like, geez, you little smart ass.
Yeah. You got to do that this year, I reckon. Put the hand out. Maybe round 1. All cameras are on.
Playing over or
Nah,
trucker
don't
or whoever
stick to your
lines up.
guns, mate. Stick
Yeah.
to the rib punch.
No, I
That's
won't
what
be
we
doing
like.
that. Round 1, I won't be doing it.
Yeah,
That's weak.
well, yeah. So when you came to the club, obviously that's the back story. But then it just connected. Like what sort of happened there?
Yeah, well, Adsy messaged me literally straight after the trade.
All right.
Period. So after everything went down, he messaged me and pretty much said, like, let's catch up, let's talk about it, talk about his situation, talk about mine. We understood each other. We caught up. The Cros was there as well, Hayden Crozier, the next day at the footy club, and we had breakfast or lunch. I can't remember what it was, but we sat there for probably 2 hours, no joke, just talking everything through. And after that, it was like straight away we had the connection. Like he came to my house the next day and we were shooting hoops out the back.
Wow, that's cool as fuck.
It just happened really quickly.
More for me, I think I had, because I had a lot of insecurities. Like I clearly had a lot of insecurities at that time. I've been open about mentally struggling with things that I've had before, and then going through what I kind of went through with that, not wanting to leave. I was that insecure, mate. I didn't know, like I just needed to find kind of my security blanket in a way, but not forcing it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I was like, oh, okay, who do I find? Do I find Josh here or someone? I'm just going to latch myself onto him. I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted it to be something that I felt. And it's not like I'm really close with several guys there. You just mentioned Crosby before. Crosby and I, we're the same age. We grew up in the same area. Played a lot of my rep junior footy against him, so I knew him pretty well anyway.
Okay.
And just after that discussion that we had, it was very authentic. It was very real. We spoke about his experiences, my experiences that we went through, and I think it was just easy to lean on each other after that. And that's where that has just grown from there. And it's been something that, you look back in hindsight, and it's like it's probably the best thing that kind of happened for me.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. What was obviously a lot of people have heard Adzy's side of that trade, but what was it like for the Bulldogs, like for the boys that were in there when you heard Treloar was coming to you guys?
What was it like?
What was it like?
Has anyone ever asked that? Were you like, fuck, now I've got another person to compete with? Which
Kind
is
of.
usually the mentality of an athlete. Then it's like, how are you, mate?
It's
Great
like
to have you
draft
here.
day. It's like draft day, right? Like the club, I was at Freo, right? They need a key back or a key forward. They take a mid. Everyone's like, and then they take Chera, right? And Chera and Brayshaw, first 2 picks. They need a tall. Another mid.
Tommy Sheridan.
Out the door 2 years later.
Oh, we love it.
No, we did. It was actually really good for us because we needed an outside player like with Adam's speed. It was something that we needed. It was something that we'd talked about as a team, as a footy club, being a part of the leadership group and stuff like that, talking to players, and that was something that we really wanted. So when it did happen, it was positive. Everyone was really excited about it, and obviously the caliber of player that Adsy was and is now.
Yeah.
Was.
Fast heads early.
Yeah, sorry.
They're throwing some
I shouldn't have said that.
Who's Brady? Who what?
Are you better now or then?
As a player?
Yeah.
Well and truly think I'm a much better player now.
Going off that grand final.
Because of the experiences and the way I've been able to kind of change my body a bit. I've lost a bit of weight and feel like I'm back
Career best Nick.
using my speed. And
That's great.
I feel like ready for a big year.
Bloody oath. Well, can you give us an insight? Because you mentioned, like, we talk about the quality of players you guys have, but a stacked midfield. Like, you'd naturally think, fuck, it's going to be pretty competitive in there. Everyone wants to play. How's the camaraderie with that to obviously still get the best out of everyone, but obviously you still want yourself to be playing, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a fair bit. We've talked about it over the preseason because last year we both got injured, Adam and I. So we had a lot of footy that we missed, and we didn't have the midfield numbers that going through there that we had at the start of the season. So we're sort of trying to get back to where we were at the start of last year. I think the first 6 rounds or 7 rounds we were all playing, and it was an even contribution every week. So you can rely on each other to play your role. Like, I know Adam's outside speed is awesome, so I'm like, my role is probably more inside, his is more outside. So I'm getting the ball and giving it to him, and then celebrating goals when he kicks them.
Most of my goals I kicked last year was thanks to him.
I mean, we complement each other. Like, that's probably the best thing about it, and you can rely on your teammate next year that's there to always compete.
It is a massive hole when you lose one weapon and then you lose two. It does change the whole dynamic, doesn't it? Because you've got to drag someone from a position where they're doing really well, and then they've got to fill that one. And then you might get the effort, but you don't get that when the game's on the line. You're like, he's just not going to pop up and do what we want.
Well, it's kind of what I said back to that star power thing. It's kind of that as well in a way where if you lose someone, you then rely way too much on someone else. It's almost the polar opposite in the AFL where you need us to be able to rely on each other. Yes, you know, there's going to be a game where maybe Bont takes over and just dominates the last quarter and we win. But majority of the game should be spread evenly, and that's exactly how we were doing it early days. I don't think we lost until – what round did we lose last year?
It was round 7.
Round 7. Right up till then, it was probably – in my career, probably the best team footy that I'd been a part of for the first 6-7 games prior to he got injured, then I got injured, then we had a few breakups here and there, and it was just really tough to really get that back towards the end of the year because we were kind of forcing it, and it wasn't being, you know, that camaraderie that we'd built up and the cohesion that we'd built up, we kind of lost a bit of it because, you know, they travelled away, COVID hit, we weren't training together, so it was really hard to get that back. I mean, I felt like we got it back come finals time.
It just took us time.
We had a really lull period. The last 3 games, we got smacked to 3. We got smacked 3 times. We lost to a team outside of the 8. We were just horrendous. And then we had a really good meeting, the midfield meeting prior to that final series. And we just spoke about like what made it easier for us earlier in the year. And that's where we want to get back to. And I felt like we did. I really did. Other than the midfield for Melbourne absolutely dominating in that second half.
I honestly, the game you guys beat Port in Port, I actually thought, mate, Dogs are going to go here. Like it was such because Port were like blistering favourites as well through that period, along with Melbourne.
People don't realise the granny was. Mate, it could have went either way. Obviously, three-quarter time. They couldn't have played any better footy in the last quarter and the end of the third. But to that point, it was you guys were actually winning. Like it was like I had no idea.
Such a good game.
Unbelievable.
It was such a good game to watch.
You get one this year.
I hope so. But even I remember I don't remember who it was, but someone said you could have put, you know, Hawthorn after they three-peated into that third and fourth quarter against Melbourne, and they wouldn't have stopped Melbourne. That's how good Melbourne were playing, and that's full credit to them. I mean, you show when you give a team an opportunity to do what they want to do, they just make you look stupid, and that's exactly what they did to us in that second half.
Just on that, how big's the round 1 clash then?
It's big. I mean,
it is.
I don't think it's a rivalry.
Is it being pumped up more outside than it would be between your four walls?
For sure. But there's love-hate relationships. Like blokes, you know what it's like, Tommy. You played footy and you respect guys from the opposition team, but then also there's guys that piss you off. So you just like,
I love Doug's attitude,
and you want to get the better of them. Like you come up against. We're coming up against probably. Well, they are the benchmark. They are as of now because they've won the premiership. But their midfield probably is the benchmark because again they've won the premiership. You come up against that, and you're just like, well, I want to beat that. Like we want to beat that, and that's the expectation we're going to going into the game.
Is that kind of? I mean, not changed how you guys have come into pre-season, but added some more fuel for everyone because now you've got a bit of a target on Melbourne, but also for you guys, you were so close.
Yeah, I think, again, going off experience, because I was fortunate enough with Collingwood, we had like 3 really, well, every year I was there other than the first 2 really good years. Made granny. Following year, we missed by a kick against the Giants. You were there that game, 2-19.
That was the hardest game to watch. For anyone,
it was.
The last 15 minutes, it was like...
Because we just kept getting the ball inside 50. But anyway, we obviously didn't win. But I was part of a really good, sustained period where we had success. And I think that's probably the main motivating thing for now, the situation that we're in now. Obviously I want to win every year. I want to win the flag every year. But I want it to be over a sustained period and have success for my whole footy career being here. I want to be in a position where we're putting ourselves in a position to win it every single year and not it being 1 year on, 1 year off, 1 year on, 1 year off. And I know 2016, when you boys won, he could probably touch on this more, but the following year there was a massive drop-off. And that's something that we just don't want to do. We want to be able to compete each year.
And that's good because we've had a lot of that experience now. So guys that were at 16... 17 drop off, 18, start to come back. But you learn through those experiences. And then last year, like the grand final, we had a lot of young guys playing their first final series. So to get that experience will then help us moving forward as well. Because
this is what you like now. Your squad's actually quite young still. There's so much. Like when you talk about sustained period of growth and success, you're in a ripe spot to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, our core players like Naughty and Chile and Bonsi. Like, these guys aren't that old. Like,
No, they feel, it seems like they are, but they're
yeah, I know. Well, Naughty's only
been around for
21.
ages,
and he's, mate, he's a superstar.
He's a monster too.
He's
Like, he's
crazy.
just built.
He
like-
actually has put on.
Yeah.
I think we ran into each other in Perth. I haven't seen him for it since. But
Oh, it's a big
mate,
ball.
after the season when he was going back, I was like, mate, you've put on some size, and that was in like November.
Yeah.
He would have gone, yeah, I know.
This year, so it's funny because we always bag him out about he never
You got
does
a nickname for
pre-season.
him, don't you?
I call him Cotton because every pre-season he's wrapped in cotton wool. Like he does nothing. This is his
Literally.
first pre-season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
Wow.
first full pre-season.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited to see how he goes.
He's been looking good too, hasn't he?
He looks awesome.
He always does. I think
We just got to get our connection better to him, and we'll be right.
Just put it in the air.
Yeah,
that's what we've been doing. It just hasn't been working.
Now, obviously, the Doggies, Melbourne, those midfield battles are well heralded. But I'm interested because you guys have got such a good midfield. Like internally, is there any other teams where you, from a midfield to midfield battle, you guys are really like, you've got to be up for a big day today? Is there anyone that stands out outside of the Demons?
I think there's a couple come to mind for me. First one I thought of was the Giants. I think they've got, and I personally think, because I'm a huge, we were talking about this before, huge fan of Steve Coniglio, and one of the greatest human beings you'll ever meet. And when he was at his best, which I think he'll be at his best again this year, he was a top 10 player in the league. He was a star. He'd go forward, kick goals, damage it with the ball. And then you think about Josh Kelly and Callum Ward, who, again, underappreciated Callum Ward. People have forgotten about how good he is. Tim Taranto, Jacob Hopper, these guys are stars.
Mental.
And you let them have it on their own terms, they'll cut you up. So that's the team I think of. And I think Carlton as well. I think with Walsh now being who he is, he's a superstar. Yeah. Cripper looks like he's going to be back to his best. They've added Chera and George Stewart, who's another underrated player. There's Richmond, like Dusty, like there's heaps of midfield groups out there that are good. But I think those two teams that I mentioned are the ones that kind of intimidate you the most, where you got to know you got to be on.
Dunks for you. Is there anyone one-on-one that you find sort of the toughest in your spot, given you're so inside and in the gritty of it all?
Yeah, we spoke about this before. Like Josh Kennedy from Sydney.
Yeah.
He's a big sort of...
That'd be a good matchup.
Big-bodied midfielder. I looked up to him as a kid. Like, he was pretty much my idol. So to match up against him was pretty surreal early days, but I find him one of the hardest to move. And Ben Cunnington's another one that's really strong. I'd like when you body up someone in the midfield, it's sort of like you try and hit them late or you try and find something, but
they don't move. They push them.
They literally don't move. Like Cunnington will just sit himself in their hit 2 zone and you cannot move him. Yeah, so you just got to wait for him to get the ball and try and strip him.
Yeah, bloody nice. Now, Tommy, for you, obviously you were close to the Giants midfield. You've been a midfielder yourself. What's sort of your expectations on them?
Well, I like what you said, because I rate them probably more than most and being there. But Tom Green's one that people forget as well. Not forget, but I reckon Leon hasn't played him in his position. And that's not a dig at Leon. There's so many midfielders at the Giants. If we can get him in there more, I reckon, and play Cogs in that 50-50 or whatever, whoever's hot. And like Josh Kelly can play in and out. So you get the wings. There's a lot of midfielders that can go through. I'm really looking forward to him. I think Carlton's my biggest improver. I've said this already. I think they're going to make the 8, and people will laugh at me. I love it. But I think Cripper's back, and I think Voss is going to add a bit of it's time. It's time for our club to, I want to be known for effort and hard work, and there's a lot of talent around.
Yeah.
So hopefully Walsh is fit. So those two midfields, yours and obviously the D's, is going to be really hot. And then, even like Port had a really bad prelim, but if you take that game away,
their season was unreal.
If they beat you guys, people might say that they're a chance to win it. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's probably first time since last year I was a bit just watching, but now I'm actually really getting back into the footy. I've been out for a year now. I'm actually starting.
When you said we at the start, so are you connected to the Giants or are you connected to Freo?
Same with the NBA. I just go for my mates.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have I obviously love the Giants, love Freo because I was there, and all my mates, I've got a few mates that are still at Freo, but the Giants is very close to my heart.
Yep.
And then watching mates, I literally love watching everyone play well. So even last year when it was like Maisie and him and Cross on the couch, I'm sitting on the fence. I'm like, to all play well and just whoever wins. Shake both your hands. But it's pretty hard when you come out, to be honest, especially when you've played at different clubs and you're a bit social as well.
Yep.
You just want everyone to go well. But I think the Giants, for me, because they haven't won one,
Who would you go for?
What do you mean?
When you finish
I
footy?
retired right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just would always think that the freshest in your mind, and that would be the Bulldogs for me.
Yeah.
But as you said, Tommy, I have a great connection with the Giants because that's where kind of grew up and matured, and I haven't really matured, but that's where
Either of I, mate.
that's where I matured. And then obviously Collingwood, like I didn't want to leave there. So, and there's so many great people there that I love.
Yeah.
I still have a really good connection there, but I don't know. I actually don't know. I'll answer that question. Hopefully, we've won a few flags. Then that would
Then
be.
you got some more attachment.
Can we just touch on that? Like, how was that sort of period for you? Because I know it was quite documented, it was quite tough, but just given now, you're like hindsight's a beautiful thing as well. Like, what's sort of your view back on it all?
Well, yeah, hindsight is a beautiful thing. I always say that. I always say that to Josh all the time about that. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's personally, I think it's the best thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't. Obviously, I felt like my world was falling apart, and I didn't know what was going on because I wanted to stay at the Pies. I'd re-signed there that year, and I had 5 years left on my contract. So that was probably the toughest thing that I went through. But I think once the game started last year, and then I fully started to understand, like, it took me a while to just get my head around playing. Like, just, you would know, Tommy, when you go from one club to another, you got to learn new things. You got to learn how to play. You got to learn how the Bulldogs play. You've got to find your feet again. You got to establish yourself. Like, I walked into the footy club as the second most experienced game player at the Bulldogs, behind Steph Martin, who was another new guy. But I still felt like I was a rookie. Like, I just had no idea. And I think that's where a lot of my insecurities came. And as the year went on, I felt a lot more connected. And then there was another challenge where I got injured. You don't feel connected.
Yeah.
Got back. And I think if it wasn't for that final series, that was where it really instilled in me how grateful I am to be in the position that I'm in. And now, looking back, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because I'm in all I want to do, mate, is win. That's all I want to do. I just want to win, just win. And not saying that that's not what Collingwood's going to do, because I think they're going to be good this year. As you said about Carlton, I think Collingwood will be a lot better than what people think. Maybe there's a lot of my heart wanting that for him, but I'm in a position now with the footy club that I feel like here, the rest of my footy career, hopefully, we're going to be in a position to win. So
it's not really spoken about like outside, like it is from an athlete perspective. And when you're in the game, it is a daunting thing going to a new club.
Oh yeah,
especially even if you're established, starting from ground zero is not fun for anyone.
I couldn't get off the ground, so I did my calf down. that injury
when you went to
when I went there, I had a full pre-season, then calf.
Frustrating.
I got a game and did my calf in the first quarter, and you know it is hard. Then I come back the next pre-season and do another calf, and I just couldn't get going. So when I played 2 games, it was almost embarrassing for my standards. So I know exactly what you mean. And you are insecure because you're going, these guys know I can play well, but I'm not. Well,
I'm not doing it.
I wasn't doing it. What I was good is at team defence.
Yep.
A completely different game plan.
Yeah.
You're trying to learn.
And you're learning it. Yep.
Like a Ross Lyon coach versus a Leon. They're completely opposite.
Yeah.
You're trying to change your brain.
Yep.
It's like you can make mistakes, mate.
Yeah.
You know, where at the other club you're getting sprayed. So
Yeah.
you got to. I was probably a bit like harsh on myself, I reckon, at training. Walking into a new club as well, like the young players, it takes like a month to learn people's names.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's such that's different to soccer.
But you don't want to make a mistake.
How many blokes would there be? Like 40 odd blokes.
45. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And did you worry at all? Like, did you worry at all about what their perception of you was early days?
Yeah,
like,
well, because I already had, I was mates with a few of the boys, but you're trying to do everything right.
Yeah,
And you're also
yeah.
you just overthink things.
Yeah.
You just roll in.
Yeah.
Which I was. But when I was injured, I started overthinking things.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But a new club, like to come in and I think when you play at a high level, that's probably where I reckon, start to go, I belong here.
Yeah.
This
And
is
that's what it
this is
was
my
for me.
place.
Yep.
So I never did that. So that was probably the hardest part. But as you said, doggies are in a great position for you. So hindsight is.
Dunk, you've been on the other side of this because you obviously were always at the Bulldogs, but then I'm interested to get your perspective when it comes to the contract talks, because your name kind of got dragged through the mud as like, he's money hungry, he's wanting to move, but no one really ever got your opinion and your view. Like, how do you manage that external noise by still getting what you want? Because you're entitled to get what's best for you in your career at the point you were. But how did you balance that? Because that would have been tough, I reckon.
It was tough, mate. It was very tough. I mean, that's where I'm probably so grateful for Adzi. Like, the way that he came in and that first chat that we had was pretty special to me, and he understood everything that I was going through, and I wouldn't be able to do it without my family as well. So
were you going through that at the same time Adzi sort of came across, or was it a year in? When was this? I'm just trying to get the timelines right.
This is after the trade. So after the trade didn't go down. Yeah, right. So we both had the same thing go on, or not the same thing, but similar things go on at the same time. Yeah. So to understand each other and then have his full support for me, because I felt like, obviously everything went down the way that it did, and you feel like you lose trust in teammates, and all teammates have lost trust in me, staff have lost trust in me, because you want to leave the footy club, but to be able to have someone like Adam there that's understanding of everything, and then be able to sort of pick yourself up and start training again. And obviously, I wanted to put my best foot forward because you feel like you do have a chink in the armour, I guess, after everything goes down. So it is hard, but it's at the same time, you've got to have your close support network that's always there to support you.
Yeah, bloody oath. It's such a unique business sport. Like, you can't really relate that to anything else.
Well, players are loyal and clubs are ruthless. And that's the nature.
Yeah, it's a business at the end of the day.
I reckon should be more loyal. You know, like what happens in your scenario, like it's pretty rare in AFL.
Yeah.
In NBA, NFL, I reckon you can get your head around it because of the money. Like they're getting paid, like it's not that, but you're getting paid bulk. So it's like put up with it. But when it's a little bit less.
Yep.
But I mean, everyone too goes through negotiations. Like everyone signs contracts, not only in sport, but in the world. Like you're always talking about it. So to be, I suppose, frowned upon for not signing a contract or doing something that's best for you, I think it's
unbelievable.
I think it's unfair.
Yeah, correct. I
don't think that. Yeah, I just think that everyone should do. At the end of the day, you do want team success. Like that's the main driving factor in sport, and especially team sport. So that's the only thing that you can sort of look forward to. Whereas, I think if guys aren't getting team success, then yeah, sure, you got to do what's best for you.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed, mate. That would have been a crazy period. I remember that clear as day. What's it like working with Bevo? Because he's got obviously an external persona, but internally I reckon he'd be more ruthless than potentially what he is. But it seems like he's managing to work with so many quality players and keep everyone happy, which is almost impossible to do in that environment. But what's he like for you guys?
Yeah, well, I think my experience is I think that's the key. You got to be able to have a relationship with each individual and accept them for who they are. I mean, we have some unique individuals, but everyone's different.
Which we love.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a massive strength of his. And I think to be able to differentiate a footy relationship and a friendship relationship is a key factor in having a good relationship with the coach. And it doesn't even have to be the main coach; it could be the assistant coach, whoever it is. And I feel like he does that really well from my experiences. In terms of the footy, I think, I still think he's still trying to just grow with the game, as most coaches are, and he's always trying to find ways to make us better and get better. And sometimes he goes a little bit, boys are like, "Oh, what the heck's going on here? What are we doing here?" Sometimes he does, and sometimes he does some funny things himself out there. Like the other day, remember when we would finish training, and he was carrying those two handball things. So you would know them, Tommy. When you do, say it's like a handball game, and they're like those handball goals where you put it in the ground, it's like a big square, and it's like a net, and you just handball it into the...
Yeah.
Anyway, like he was just randomly walked up and grabbed him, and you could see he'd committed to grabbing them both. And these things are heavy by themselves. He's grabbed both of them and just put them on his shoulders, and you could see that he was uncomfortable and it was hurting him, and he should have dropped them. But he's that proud. He's like, "No, I'm going to carry this thing off." So he's like walking with one hanging off his left arm, one hanging off his right arm.
Oh my
walking
God.
excited.
You said to me, "Look at Bevo."
So he was over the far side. I've run over there. I was like, "Mate, have a look at Bevo. Look what he's doing." But, he's my experience is
he's a big unit.
Oh, he is. He loves training. Yeah,
Smack gym.
He's in there every morning before all of us. He'll train.
He rows more than anyone.
We're walking in. He's in the shower. He's just like finishing up.
That's
but no, I think I think that his ability to differentiate a coach relationship and a friendship relationship is something that I appreciate, definitely.
What sort of for you when you were playing? Because you obviously you said two spectrums of coaches there, but like, what got the best out of Tommy Sheridan? Was it the arm around the shoulder? Was it the Ross line rant? Or what?
Oh, well, I used to respond to the rant, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, does anyone?
I think the best coaches, as you said, like I look back to my junior career, to be honest, mate. Like a lot of my mates' parents, brought me up. Obviously, my dad's one of my biggest, mentors, but he never coached me. He just sit back and relax, and we talk about it after a game. But all my closest mates' dads, they brought me up with local footy, and they'd be real hard on me at the right time. Because you got that, you got that respect and relationship, like you said, you'd respond like, "Oh, geez, I need to do something here." Yeah. This thing you need to understand the person and then be really critical at the right time. Like if you're not doing something, and be honest. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that, changing to the person or the personality, because I've played under coaches where it's just one thing fits all. Yeah. Like, it's very hard to do with
in a team environment.
It's very hard to get success that way.
With certain like team principles, yes, but when it's an individual thing,
you can't single someone out.
No.
Yeah, gone are the days of that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I know you did. Or you copped it.
Oh, we all did, yeah. Yeah, those days are probably done.
Yeah.
They're probably still there, but the players don't like them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Old school footy, Jesus. Wouldn't have loved
Oh,
it.
imagine back in the day, like
I know.
90s
It's
era.
unique, isn't it?
Oh, mate. Now, I just wanted to bring something up because we've ran a similar path on something, and you're a big part of inspiration for doing this. And you remember, obviously, that 4-episode doco with Collingwood, and it was quite heralded, obviously, the stuff you were going through and the work you did with Jackie Lauder. So I was going through something similar with soccer at the time, but more about like transition and acceptance of like, fuck, I'm not playing at the highest level anymore in what I do. So I got on the phone and went and saw Jackie.
She's the greatest.
Had her on this show.
She's the greatest, mate.
Mate, she's unbelievable. And we spoke quite candidly about everything. But I just wanted to go back to that period for you because I don't think you realised it at the time. But I reckon you kind of paved a way for what is a very masculine sport where people don't really speak about that stuff.
Yep.
And we're really vulnerable. And now I think it's a little bit more comfortable for people to do that.
Yep.
What was that like for you through that time?
Well, firstly, Jackie, love her. I know she'll be listening. And
Shout out, Jackie.
I've literally been on the phone to her every day for the last week and a half, just recently, just talking about life and a few things. But she's one of the greats. No, I think at the time I didn't really, it wasn't something that I was, like I just openly spoke about it because the producer who was talking to me about it was just, how you going, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, how am I going? I'm actually struggling a little bit. Like, I've gone through this, I've gone through that. And then he just kept asking questions, and that's kind of how it happened. And then I think the feedback, because I was doing AFL 360 and I was doing a few things where I was just in the media, and I was commonly getting then asked about questions about my mental health and you know, how you going with it, and you said this and you said that. Things that I'd never previously spoken about. Like, I remember saying after a game, it was 2018. We played Carlton on the Friday night, and we won. We won by, I think, 6 goals. And like, I just didn't, like, I had that much anxiety going into the game, and I can't even tell you what it was. It's just, you just go through it.
Yeah.
And I finished the game. We won. Everyone's back at the spa because we'd walk back over to the road and do our recovery. And I was in the spa just crying my eyes out, like, and I just couldn't help myself. Like, I was just a mess.
Yeah.
And I remember talking about that, and then it got deeper and deeper. And on AFL 360, they were asking me, and like, you know, how are you going through this? How are you going through that? So it was something that I never really thought was going to end up being anything. And then the more I got asked, the more I thought, oh, well, if people are going to actually, you know, relate to this and speak about this, it's something that I should talk about, be a big advocate for it, which I am. And yeah, that time of my life and now it's commonly I get asked about, commonly I get messages on my phone, private messages saying, oh, I'm a, you know, I could be a 20-year-old or it could be a kid, 15-year-old saying, oh, I play representative footy. I've done this. I'm really struggling with my anxiety. I can't find myself getting up out of bed, play a game because I'm just worried about this. So, it's something that I'm a massive advocate for. I'm always going to have, you know, mental health struggles. You know, I've, you know, been on the border of being diagnosed with depression because of stuff that I've gone through, and something that I'll always be an advocate for, because now we're in a time and an age where it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to be open and honest about how you're feeling. We're past that time where it should be big macho man, oh, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, don't worry about it, I'm okay, I'm all good. You don't have to be like that anymore. You should be able to talk about it. And clubs have support systems. And you mentioned Jackie Lauder. She was an external source that I reached out to who has helped change my life, like change my absolute life, because I was ready to retire in 2018 and I was 24, turning 25. And for me to do that then, and for her to be there for me and talk to me and understand that the first thing you got to do to recognize this is actually recognize it and then talk to someone about it. And you just feel so much better. So something that I'll always have with me, but I find ways to deal with it. And believe me, and he knows more than anyone, because commonly I talk to him about this. I still have my times where I struggle big time. Like simple phone call to Josh, be like, mate, I've called him before sitting in my sauna. I remember I was just crying. I was like, mate, I'm just really struggling. Like, I can't explain to you. I'm just really struggling. Like, it's just hard. I need you, mate. Like, I need you. He would just, you know, he'd just do his thing and make me feel okay. But it's just, it's just things that, I was always open and honest with.
What's sort of your, like, it's interesting, and I appreciate the vulnerability ads, honestly, and I'll jump into a few more things, obviously, I did with Jackie, but for you, what's interesting is, obviously, ads is, you're not the only bloke that's getting phone calls from mates who are going through stuff like that. Like, for you, how did you I guess, be a voice or an ear through that period, because it's quite hard to balance, obviously, making sure he's okay, but obviously trying to help him out as well.
Yeah, it's actually a hard one to sort of talk about because, you know, I think it's more about myself as a person, and I care about everyone that I know, and I build good relationships with everyone, and obviously Ads and I are really close, so you want to be there for him as much as you can, and it's shit because we live so far away from each other. Otherwise, we'd be at each other's house all the time. Yeah. But I think it's really important to be there for your mates. And like Adsy mentioned, it is okay not to be okay. So you've always got to support each other. And whenever Ads needs me, I'm always there. Yeah. I'm the first one that, you know, I'll call him if I get wind of him being sort of upset or something like that. So to understand the person themselves and then actually be there for him is really important.
And quite often it's most of the time it has nothing to do with footy.
Yeah.
Rarely has anything to do with footy.
Is footy like sometimes almost like a release?
Absolutely, yeah. Early days it wasn't, because I used it as a get out. I used it as an excuse, like I don't want to play, like this is, I don't want to do this because this is how I'm feeling, this is going to translate to my footy. But then as I discovered with Jackie and stuff, it had nothing to do with footy, to the point now where sometimes it's the only good thing that I feel like I have, and I'm just so grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah, bloody oath.
What was Jackie's greatest advice for you in those moments when you're really struggling? What's something that you always go back to that you might be able to share with everyone?
Well, her advice, it wasn't really advice. It was, you got to be able to take in the good stuff. And a lot of the times when you're struggling, you just look at all the bad stuff and why you're struggling and what's affecting you. So that was probably the first thing. But the second thing, it was more of a ways to get out of that bad headspace or negative headspace. And for me personally, it is being able to surround myself with, you know, we have these. She drew this bubble up for me, like this little bubble, like a circle, and it's, you know, a small circle on the inside and then a bigger circle outside of it, then an even bigger circle outside of it. And pretty much what it represented was the small circle is the people that I'm extremely close with who, if my life was on the line, these are the people that I'm going to go to, and they're going to make you feel whole. They're going to make you feel you're loved and you're a good human being and you deserve everything that you have. And I came up with, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 names, and now another name's been added, obviously, with Josh, so that makes it about 6 people. Outside of that circle is kind of acquaintances in a way, and then outside of that circle is just things that are irrelevant in your life. And that's kind of what we mapped out. And quite often I go back to that. And when I am struggling, Josh isn't in that circle of 6, the 6 people, I'd probably call each person or message each person and say, look, this is how I'm feeling. I need a bit of, I just need some reassurance. Just tell me that I'm okay. Tell me that everything's okay. Tell me I'm a good person. Just tell me that I'm doing things right. And that's kind of what we mapped out to do. And it took a while. The first, I'm going to say 4 months, I was still ignoring it. I was still struggling, but I was more embarrassed than anything. I just didn't want to call someone and be like, oh,
mate, I feel like an idiot. That's a skill. This is what Jackie told me.
It is,
she goes, that is a skill.
It is.
And I was like, I was thinking about it because when she was on, she was talking about, I was like, because she's actually still part-time, I believe, right, across Collingwood, AFLW. Melbourne Storm as well. She's not full-time.
Yeah.
And I was telling her, because there's obviously clubs and obviously I'm closer to the A-League than the AFL, but there's nothing for anyone. And obviously all sports quite similar. And I was like, if you were to sell your role to a club, what would you say? And she just went through it and she was like, she kind of referenced a Rolls Royce. She's like, think of for instance, we go Collingwood, you got Scott Pendlebury. He's the Rolls Royce of the players. He's like, if you want to get, the best out of a Rolls Royce, you're not going to go and get a mechanic from, Ford or something like that or whatever it is. She's like, you need the best in each field. We've trained 10, 15 years for these conversations. We can pick up little details, little hints, little words and stuff like that to then lend advice. And she said that
Great
around
point.
Speaking about your emotion, and especially as a bloke, I'm equally as bad as anyone with that. But I actually reckon it's a skill to be able to do that.
Yep.
No, thanks for sharing. It's great.
Now I do. We are big on the podcast game. Tommy Sheridan. We have linked up to do a couple. Obviously, we did one with Dunks earlier in the year on the NFL. We've got Business and Aces, or Aces in Business, I should say, coming up, which is pretty exciting. But the two boys here which we love, are dabbling in the space.
Out of nowhere as well.
Out of absolutely
Not
fucking
done to give it a
nowhere.
heads up.
Just so, give us whose idea was this, and how's this come about? Because the listeners here, on and off pod, what are we? 3 eps have gone live.
We just filmed our fourth
today.
or recorded.
So by the time this comes out, I reckon the 4th will be out. So everyone that's listening to this, get over that, adds in and dunks, and take us through what it's about, boys, please.
Well, it's funny because the first person to sort of tell us that we should do it was our first guest. So Steph Martin.
Oh, really?
Very elusive Steph Martin.
Why did it? What in his headspace made him tell you that?
Well, he watched the Channel 7 thing, you know, those Channel 7 things that you do together, like
teammates,
pre-season
kind of
teams.
vibes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we did one and hung a bit of shit on each other and had a laugh. And he was like, "You boys should do a podcast."
No way.
And we were just like, "Oh yeah." And then last year happened, COVID, whatnot. So we sort of got delayed a little bit, but we were talking about it. And then this year it got off the ground. And after we filmed that one with you boys,
Yep.
I reckon a couple of weeks later we're on.
First app.
Fuck. So you can turn them around quickly, from idea to production.
Yeah.
Like it can happen quick, and then all of a sudden you're 3-4 episodes in, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, it's something, like you said, it was something that we've spoken about. We just needed to find the right time, and we would have done it last year, but COVID obviously affected that, and then we needed to find someone to help us with it, and it all just happened really quickly once we started. Once we were like, okay, are we going to do this? Yeah, we're going to do this.
Then we got a logo.
Literally just happened.
It's a
out of
sick
nowhere.
logo. It's sick, isn't it?
It's cool.
Who's done that up?
It's a
like
cartoon. There's
kind
a
of.
cartoonist that one of our producer Jack, he knows the cartoonist. He knows the cartoonist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, we'll get him to do it, and they did it, and it's unreal. It's epic.
It's funny because I saw it and I said, New York Jets?
Yeah, he messaged me. He's like, "Oh, you're a Jets man." I was like,
Come
"No."
on, mate. Like, everything's perfect, but that Jets hat.
I nearly told him to rub it out.
Oh, really? Yeah. So what's kind of the content? Like, it's a variety of content, I assume, but what's sort of your angles of what you guys are trying to deliver out of it, I guess?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably about everything, like life, showing everyone that we are normal human beings. Like, we talk about mental health, but also throughout the season, it's going to be interesting to see how we go on our ups and downs, and just trying to give people more of an insight into what we're like as people, but also, you know, what goes on in the wider community. Like, we're paying attention. Like, we talked about the Queensland floods a couple of weeks ago, like things like that. Shane Warne last week, and how sad that was, and just being vulnerable and showing, I guess how we are as characters and people.
I think that's the main thing. That was the main gist that we wanted to get out of it, and be as authentic as we can be, and people can get a sense of the people that we are. And I took great motivation. I don't know what the potty's called, but Kalen Ponga does a podcast. I don't know what it's called, but I know. So the reason why I know it is he's managed by the same manager. Actually, him and I have the same manager.
Right.
And he has a lot of success on his podcast. And literally, all he does is him and his 2 mates. They just talk rubbish. That's all they do. And apparently, it has a huge following. They've got branding off it. They've had sponsorships for it, and it's something like, Josh and I, we banter pretty well, and we have opinions on a lot of topics and whatnot. Why don't we try that? And that's kind of where it's branched off to. But we want to be able to add guests as well. And
which I saw. So is that because you obviously had Steph Martin on, but you hadn't had anyone before? So you're going to just sort of compliment both?
We are, but but I know he doesn't want this either, but we don't really want it just to be footy guests. We want it to be
fucking oath. That's what we're in the same boat here, because it's so easy to bucket yourself into that.
Exactly, and you don't want
footy
that. And he networks as well as anybody, so he knows.
The head clash.
Him and Tommy.
Good. Is he?
There we go.
Tommy's good.
We love that.
So so that's kind of the gist. We're excited about how it is.
It's good to be yourself. In footy clubs, early days, maybe now they're letting you talk more and be yourself, but I felt like they owned your opinion. They owned, like, you go to a press conference. I didn't do many, but
absolutely,
it was like, you cannot say this.
Couldn't agree more, Tommy.
You cannot do that, but you got to touch on this. Yeah,
there is still elements of that.
Is that changing?
Absolutely. It's getting better.
But it's getting. But what these podcasts will help is players will be able to go there and swear when they want to. When they're vulnerable,
control the narrative.
Yeah, control the narrative instead of saying what the media guy tells you to say. So when you go to a press conference, when you're watching on the news, you know that it's a straight bat and they're not hitting anything but a little dot ball. And everything's like, what do you think of his game? He's had 30 and kicked 5.
Yeah.
Thought he played his role tonight. Like, it's so boring.
I fucking hate that. I'm a big that's why I love Curious.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love him.
And the American persona, they love it, don't they?
That's what it is. Individuals make sports great, sometimes. I feel like, AFL's sensitive.
Like, how good is it watching Russell Westbrook do his interviews?
Oh, man.
Even now.
I love him.
Yeah, because he's copping it more than anybody in the world.
I know.
I feel for him, but I just love how brutal he is. Like,
he actually said something sad the other day, which made me. It brought perspective on like what's going on when they've got.
Was that about his family?
Yeah, about his son. How his son is absolutely obsessed with like calling himself Noah Westbrook.
Yeah.
Instead of writing Noah on his school pages, he just puts Westbrook. And he goes, I'm turning up to crypto.com arena and everyone's calling me Westbrick.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like affecting my legacy and my family. And it's like puts perspective on.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yep. Kyrie cops it as well, which I don't understand it. Like, I don't know why people put all that negative, like all that negative talk onto people when they're actually paying to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it in a sense where maybe it's a UFC fighter and they hate him, they hate to love him, but consistently, like just don't say nothing.
And the worst thing is people who have like just a general fan, and this goes with footy as well, mainly when reporters and whatnot talk rubbish about a player, the general then believe that. The general population then believe that about the player.
Correct.
And it may not even, it isn't true. Most of the time it isn't true. But the public, because they hear it from an expert, he must be a shit kick or he must be a shit bloke or whatever it is. And that's probably the most frustrating thing. So if you were to ask someone now and we're talking about Russell Westbrook, I reckon people have already forgotten how good he was. Well, is still. I still think he's a star. He'll move someone next year and go back to his normal ways. Yeah,
triple
but
doubles.
People forget how good he is because of the narrative now of how shit he's been playing. He can't shoot. He can't do anything, which is probably the most frustrating thing. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it's fucking, man. You boys know better anyway. It's a hard thing to play 8 and 9 out of 10 every game. Oh. If everyone could do it.
1 out of 10. Back to the pod. What's the plan with it? Is it once a week? You're going to drop an episode once a week?
Yeah, we're trying once a week.
Perfect. And what days are you trying to drop them?
Later in the week, yeah.
Thursday, yeah.
So our next one's dropping Wednesday before round 1. So this week.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And you guys are on Spotify, Apple.
Spotify, Apple.
There you go. Everyone, get behind.
Please do.
We love it. We're big advocates. Yeah, we've spoken about like everyone with a platform, particularly you guys. It's great to just see another side. It's going to start to be, I honestly think this space is what people are going to tune into more, the next generation, because it's not as scripted, it's more fun.
Yep.
Back to the pod, I've tuned in. So there's a little bit of there's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of talk, which I love. But I reckon this is my tip to you boys. I want some video element.
Yeah.
Where we can.
We are.
Okay, great. I want to see these things put to test, maybe once a week, and the challenge count ticks over during the end of the year, but there needs to be a punishment at the end of the year. I don't know what it is.
Can you give me insight into one of these challenges or what's going on here?
What happens is they'll just say basketball, and then one of the boys will go, I'm a better shooter.
Okay.
Well, that's an easy one. We don't even worry about it.
Weights. I'll lift heavier.
You know what I mean? So, all right, get the bench press, film it, and push that bar. And let's see who actually is
let's
strong.
film it now.
Mate, well, no, that's exciting. As I said, on and off pod, we are going to do, before we wrap up this podcast, I do want to give a quick plug to our good mate over here, Rick's Eyewear, Tommy Sheridan. As always, there is the discount code Unlaced. What are we giving? 20? Is it 20% off?
Yeah, we can bump it up.
Isn't there an end of financial year sale
on right now?
Well, I reckon 75%. by the time this comes out, if it's still there, get on it, because it is a luxury sunglass brand. The Melbourne Storm boys loving it.
Big shout out to everyone. There's been a few people use your code, so I really appreciate it. And we'll have to do something for them. I'll organise something. But big thanks to you and everyone that listens.
Beautiful. Now, one more question to you boys, and then I want to get everyone's pick for the winner of the East and West in the NBA. But do you guys go in at your sort of established states of your career? Do you guys go into seasons with sort of individual goals, or do you kind of less cloudy the better? What's sort of your viewpoints on that?
Not goals. I don't have a goal. I just want what I want to improve. So it's not like, if you're meaning like I'll win the Brownlow or something, it's nothing like that. Yeah. What I want to be able to do, which I believe will take me to the next level, is I just want to be able to hit the scoreboard more. Yeah. And I feel like I have the capability to do that.
Well, the grand final, point in state. No?
Yeah. I feel like I have the capability to do that. I just need to be able to back myself a little bit more. So
that's a great goal.
That's literally honestly, what I want to do more this year.
I reckon the simple like that is more effective.
Yep.
To be honest.
And you talk about midfielders, when they branch themselves off from other midfielders, it's generally when they hit the scoreboard more. So I find myself, I have a lot of opportunities as I either just don't do it or I choose not to have a shot, whatever it is, where I just want to be able to back myself a lot more this year and be able to do that.
I'll give you a polish here, but I wish I had your speed, right? If you've got quick feet, I don't think you can't get tackled. So go for him, mate. And instinct takes over when you've got that mindset.
I agree with you,
when you're second guess, I've got to pass. If you just know you're inside 40, you might burn a couple early, but you'll see it. Good hands. But, mate, I reckon you'll kick a few more with that.
I agree with you, Tommy.
What about you, Dunks?
Mine's similar. It's not like I want to hit the scoreboard, but I want to use my legs more out of stoppage and be a bit stronger with the footy. I'd always kick it a lot out of like straight away. I'll just think about kicking it straight away. He's been on to me a lot, and all my teammates have, just around taking a few more steps. I'm pretty big, so I can't get tackled easily. So if I'm a lot stronger over the footy and then use my legs, I can give handballs to Adzi, and then he can kick goal.
So he's giving you that so he can get more receipts.
Every week he sprays me, mate, out on the field. Saying I missed 2 handballs where he could have kicked the goal.
I love that. Oh, that's good. Now, Tommy, let's go East and West predictions whilst we're in the thick of it coming into playoffs. I just got it up
before. I mean, I like the Suns.
You've been big raps on them.
I'm set on mine. I think the Suns will win the West.
Yep.
Because I said they've got the team to get there, and then they have the Devin Booker star power. That's my philosophy. And I think Miami will win the East. Yep.
So just for everyone listening on the East, you got Miami, Philly, the Bucks, the Bulls, Boston, Cleveland, another good team. And then you got the Raptors, the Nets, Atlanta, and Charlotte. I love watching Charlotte.
Charlotte is so enjoyable.
That's because every game they play, it's 140 points against dropped. There's no defense.
Yeah, exactly right. LaMelo Ball at the point.
I think the Bucks on that side. I think
they're hard to write off, aren't they?
I think they'll get back there. I think Miami just don't have enough star power.
What about Memphis? There's a bit of like everyone's roughies Memphis.
I don't reckon they're going to go too deep.
No, I don't think so.
You reckon they'll
Golden State? What about Golden State?
Yeah, I reckon they'll be right.
I think they're in the same category as Bucks to me. You just can't rule them out because
if
of the star
Draymond's
power.
back,
he will.
back.
Yeah, he's scheduled to come. They said it the other day. So,
but will he be back? Hopefully he's back to how hard it is going through the finals. I reckon. Oh, I mean, if he's right, and Curry and Thompson.
James Wiseman comes back too.
What a player!
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Dunks, what about you? You're going to Phoenix as well? Everyone seems jumping on them.
Phoenix, like Tommy said, good team.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty solid. I did get on the 76ers when Harden got traded.
Oh, that's right. I put a bet on.
I put a bet on. They were paying like close to $10.
Oh, MB.
They'll be solid.
They'll be right up there, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're going through a bit of a lull at the moment. They're probably working out how to play
if
with
that
each other.
Chemistry.
If those two click and they get defense right in that team, then offense, is just going to fly.
The Nets is going to be so fun to watch. I can't wait. I'll be going for I'll be cheering them on because I think Durant, Irving, our boy Benny, Paddy, even like Curry's there now. If I'd love him to have one more tall.
Me too.
The big boy.
Yeah. Well, I think they fixed a lot of their issues just by getting Ben Simmons with their defense because he can guard multiple positions.
But what do you do with Ben Simmons? Do you make him the prominent ball handler, or do you play him as the two and
you
let
get him
Kyrie
there for defense? I think with KD, Kyrie there, even Seth Curry and Patty Mills, these guys can shoot and handle the ball. Yeah, let him handle the ball, Ben Simmons, if he wants. But his points should all be put back points, or he gets an opportunistic rebound, scores it, whatever it is.
Even driving, because if he's one-on-one and then feeds or goes to the ring, it's going to be very hard to defend that whole team. I can't wait to.
I feel like it's all set up for the Nets and 76ers to go at it at some point.
It'll be
very.
Imagine if that's a playoff.
They smoked them the other day, but it's all set up.
That would be epic.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's a wrap, guys. I want to thank Dunks and Adzi for coming in. You guys are absolute legends. On and off pod. Get around it, everyone. It's going to be a great show. Tommy Sheridan, the king, mate. Aces in business. Tommy talks. It's all happening for you, mate. We thank you for coming in as well. It's been a pleasure.
It's good to be here.
Absolute wrap. Beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.